You're showing us the way.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, and happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. Happy Women's Month. Happy March. Happy spring ahead. I can't tell. It looks a little dreary out. But remember, we spring ahead tonight. So we're going to lose that hour of sleep. So you're going to be feeling a little jet lag tomorrow. But happy almost spring. At least we hope so. I am Kimberly Holmes-Ross with EVANSTON CRADLE to Career, where we partner with over 40 organizations to make Evanston the most equitable place it can be. And we are happy to be here this morning. It is time for community coffee. So you know what I'm going to ask you to do. Share this video. I'm going to do it on air like I do every week. Take a moment, share this video, let people know we're on because, of course, we'll be talking about some news you can use. Okay, so share this video. I'm sharing as we speak, and we are going to get started. All right, so good morning again. We, of course, are on our favorite platform, Radio La Difference, with our super producer, Mr. Man. Good morning, Mr. Man.
Good morning, Kim. Appreciate you.
Oh, we appreciate you. And can you believe we only have 2 shows left until our season finale? We have, man, oh man, this time has gone quick. And our season finale is coming up March 25th. And boy, oh boy, do we have a season finale in store for you. We will share more next week. For now, I'll tell you we will be live in studio for an extended show. We'll be partnering with our sister, Lisa Laude, on Lift Your Life Radio. And it's going to be great. Lots of surprise guests, lots of surprises. So stay tuned for our season finale. And that doesn't mean we won't be back. We'll take a short hiatus, get ourselves together, work on some things, and we'll be back with you guys this summer. So all that good stuff's coming up. And of course, we couldn't do it without the advocates. We're small but mighty today. We're here with Advocate Carmen. Good morning, Advocate Carmen. Thank you for being with us.
Good morning.
Good morning. And we have a special guest with us. Now, I know you guys are like, okay, it's Women's History Month. We see Greg on the screen. What is Greg coming to talk to us about here, Women's History Month in this month? Well, as we lean into Women's History Month, Greg is doing some historic things in his organizations for young women. So we definitely wanted to lift that up. We want to hear about Camp Kuumba. We want to hear where the equity and empowerment for Evanston families and Camp Kuumba intersect and meet. I want to hear it all. I met Greg at a participatory budget meeting and heard a little bit about what he was doing and thought, you need to share this. So thank you for coming on with us, Greg.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. Well, let's just jump in. Tell us about you. Tell us about these organizations. We want to hear it all.
All right. So, I'm Greg Taylor. I'm the executive director at Equity and Empowerment for Evanston Families. So we're also transitioning. We're going to be Kuumba Evanston. And our website is kuumbaevanston.org. And, I guess we started during COVID. We had a lot of time on our hands. It was a group of coaches at ETHS, a group of teachers in District 65 that were, that were really frustrated and disheartened with, some of the tragedies with our young Black males in Evanston. And in particular, a lot of us were very close with Ryan Boss. And I think that struck a lot of us deeply. And so, collectively, we wanted to come up with some real tangible ways to try to change, the narrative that was, really prevalent in a few months in Evanston. It was, it seemed like we weren't, being able to do much to change that. So we asked some questions to ourselves. What can we do better individually? What can we do better collectively? And we came up with a lot of ideas, but the one that stuck as being the most ready to do, the thing that we could do quickest and probably have the biggest impact was to create a summer camp. And so we created a summer camp for Black boys, 3rd through 8th grade in District 65. And we ran it under the direction of Mark Success, who was our camp director for the first 2 years. And, Camp Kuumba is about bringing Black boys together with Black counselors and providing them space and opportunity to celebrate themselves, to explore their interests. We do, and also to help them grow, primarily. And so at Camp Kuumba, we have a curriculum of STEM, financial literacy, reading. Obviously, they play sports as a way to, kind of build a sense of teamwork and also get some of the extra energy that they have out throughout the day. We have fine arts with a gentleman named Javoid Simmons, who's been phenomenal with our youth in terms of giving them the space to, express themselves artistically. And so we've run the camp for 2 years. It's a free camp. It runs for 3 weeks per session. And, the middle school boys are there all day, 7:30 to 5. So, we're trying to make sure that childcare isn't an issue. We're trying to make sure that transportation isn't an issue. So we're picking the youth up and dropping them off, and we're making sure that we feed them at least twice a day. So they have breakfast and lunch that is served and provided through the generosity of District 65 and ETHS and the city of Evanston in terms of making sure that those meals are paid for. And we've had 2 great years. We've grown. We went from 36 kids in our first year to 65 or 66 in our second year. And so we felt like this was a great time to, to add a girls program, because we don't want to leave our young women behind. And we realize that they need the same and want the same opportunities that we've provided to the boys. And so we hired Brittany Johnson on full time to be our director of girls programming. And in hindsight, I probably, should have shot Brittany an invite to be on so she could, kind of, share some of her excitement and some of what she has planned. But that's where we're moving now. So we're hoping to have a total of 140 kids of color in camp this summer. We'll start with 3rd through 5th grade girls. So we want the girls to be able to grow through the program, over the years. So we're going to start with that age group. And so our first camp will be June 12th to June 30th. It'll be 3rd through 5th grade girls and 3rd and 4th grade boys. And so our camp is at Evanston Township High School, and it runs from 12 to 5 p.m. And so we have a free swim lessons at 11 that all of the kids can come to, and then we get started with our camp curriculum. And so and they spend 3 days in curriculum doing the STEM and the financial literacy and the reading and those things. And we spend 2 days in what we call exploration and discovery. So we go on field trips 2 days a week. And so we try to get them out and give them opportunities to see things and do things maybe they haven't done before.
This camp sounds amazing. I want to come to camp, but I want to backtrack just a little bit, because you said this was kind of born or birthed out of the tragedy of Ryan Boss, who, if you don't know and you're listening, was a basketball player, a very great basketball player over at Evanston Township, and was murdered, I believe, in 2020 or 2021. Yeah. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And so for me, it all goes back to gun violence prevention and that kind of awareness. And I'm just wondering, in violence prevention, is that a piece of your program? Are you guys focusing on any violence prevention in the program? Because I know our youth, and then we've had some folks want to talk about violence prevention, not only with these young men, but these young girls who, find themselves in these violent situations?
Yeah. So, yeah, it's a great question. And we have what we call our 8 pathways to success. And so we try to um, make sure that all of our programming or all of our activities, all of our enrichments and offerings fall into one of the 8 categories. And, so family support network, mentorship, education, building healthy relationships, interest and exploration discovery, career development, career discovery and development, financial literacy, and community service. And so within that building healthy relationships piece, it's real important, so we just finished a 6-week seminar workshop with Northwestern and their Mars department or CARES department. And it was a healthy masculinity workshop. And a lot of that revolved around, there were some great conversations about what, so you take 2 prominent figures in our society and ask them, and we're asking the kids what, what makes one, more masculine than the other. And there were some great answers, related to, well, he's a family man. Well, when we talk about music artists, well, he's affiliated. And this was some great answers. Well, not so much him because he has gang affiliation. And so within the workshop, we're getting the kids to kind of, address some of the cultural, issues that are out there and try to ask them what's important to them, find out what's important to them. And drive home the fact that, hey, we have to be here for each other, and we have to support each other and learn leadership skills and in a sense of, how do you diffuse situations amongst your peers that could lead to violence. So whereas we haven't had any direct conversation about gun violence, we have focused on, how to be good leaders amongst your peers, how to have healthy relationships with your peers and adults and women and the girls in your classroom and in school. And we spent a lot of time during camp as well, because they're earning points throughout the day, or Kuumba cash, as we call it, for, their ability to think outside of themselves, be courteous and conscious of other people and their feelings, and being aware of trying to make the space around them better for the people around them. And so I think we focus it on in that way. But that's a big part of our, it's one of our 8 pathways and a big part of our program.
Well, that's amazing. And so is that Kuumba cash, the kids and collect their coins. Violence, I think, and as I talk and we work with our own student advocates, safety and violence, and not necessarily gun violence, but violence, is just a concern. I don't know if people read this week about the Starbucks and the McDonald's and the Burger King closing during after school hours because it's just out of control. We have to get a hold of our youth, people, our boys and our girls. And I think the girls are probably up there fighting probably more than the boys from what I hear. So I'm excited that you have a program where girls can grow, learn their worth, empower them to know that they can be more than this, violent person that they're turning into. This is the violence in Evanston and after school, that violence between 3 and 5, and it's not just our high schoolers, the junior high kids are making their way up there and really, really causing havoc. So as the summer approaches, Greg, I'm glad there'll be camps like yours. Parents, if you're listening, free camps like yours. So that's a really great thing that these camps are going to be free. But our kids need something to do. They need to have constructive things to do. They need to have role models who are doing positive things and can reflect these things back into their own lives. So we just appreciate all you do. I'm going to let Carmen ask some questions because I could talk all day.
So thank you for being here. This sounds like an amazing program. So I have two questions. So Ms. Kim just spoke to the fact that, our middle school kids are kind of involved in a lot of the violence going on sometimes and just aren't really sure how to navigate that. So I know you mentioned 3rd through 5th grade girls will be the starting point. Do you have intentions to open that up maybe in the next year or two to middle school girls as well? And then my second question is, so Kuumba is one of the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. Can you speak to why you chose that as the name for the camp?
Sure. Yeah. So to your first question, so the idea of having the 3rd through 5th is all of those girls that are coming in this year will move, they'll move into 6th grade, and then and like we've done with the boys, it's kind of a pilot year for the girls, and then they will move into 6th, and then it's likely that as long as we have the funding and support in the space, that we would go 3rd through 8th with the girls as well, if we could. So there, I can't say that we have gotten that far ahead in our thinking, but other than knowing that our 3rd through 5th graders will continue to stay in the program. So as 6th graders, they will be in as they move to 7th, right? And so whether that's like a 3-year plan or or we can actually get to it next year, which would be awesome. That's the goal, right? So that they do have those same opportunities all the way through. So great question. And then, Kuumba is, how do you creatively work to make your community better? And I mean, that's the spirit of what we're about. This isn't one, it definitely wasn't my idea. There was a group of people that got together, and it was months of meeting every Monday. And luckily we had the time, because of COVID, a lot of us had the time where we could take the time to like block out an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours out of our day, to have these conversations, to try to figure out, how we can build some programming that would support, black, and eventually, black and brown kids in Evanston. But that's, we're very aware that, we're intentionally named Kuumba and Camp Kuumba because it's about improving our community and the families and the people in it and all the ways that we possibly can.
I get a lot of folks asking me, so who are you going to have on? Who are you going to have on? I'm like, we're going to talk about Camp Kuumba. And what is it, Kwanzaa Camp? What is Camp Kuumba? Thank you for that question. And then I got, what is it about the arts? Is it great? So they were close, they're on it. Everybody knows there's 7 principles. If you don't, come on.
Right.
But they're talking about, is it an arts camp? Is it creativity? Is it all about Kwanzaa? So
right. That's a part of it. That's a part, we want them to be able to express themselves artistically and be comfortable, be comfortable and confident with the arts and how they express themselves. Music is such a big part of our kids' lives and but beyond that, there are other ways, our reading instructor, Abdel Shakur, shout out to Abdel. He was phenomenal. He did our middle school boys reading program, and his theme was the summer of boasting, and so it was really cool. So their project for those 3 weeks where they read some passages, they watched some videos of like Muhammad Ali. They went over some rap songs, Biggie Smalls, and he tied it back to why are they, what makes them proud of who they are and where they come from. And they wrote about that, they answered some questions, they wrote about that. And the ones that were comfortable with doing it, expressed their thoughts in front of the rest of the camp on our last day, which is kind of a big celebration day. So, I think it's important. It's really important. That art piece is important, but it's all important. Financial literacy is important too, so, it's all, but we're trying to squeeze a lot in 3 weeks. But the other thing, not to get too long-winded, is I came on board as the executive director so that we can do programming year round. So the other big thing about Camp Kuumba, especially going forward, was moving from a 3-week camp experience to providing opportunities throughout the entire year, which we've done a lot this year, which has been great.
I love that summer of boasting. I just, that is amazing, and to expose them to folks like Muhammad Ali, who absolutely loves himself, and we love that, right?
Right.
Right. He always, I'm so pretty. I was like, okay.
Right.
So, if you don't love you, who is? So,
right.
I think, and especially for our boys and our girls as well, to kind of instill that self-love, because I don't know if you always, especially at that awkward age,
right.
It's all right to really feel good about yourself and boast about it.
Right.
So go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say, and that goes back to the violence prevention. I kind of always telling the kids, like, hey, you're going to have enough people hating on you. You're going to have enough people against you. So you need to, we need to, be conscious of how we take care of each other, as brothers and now as sisters, as part of this community. So. It was a conversation all the time, it was just little reminders, you have enough, you have enough of a fight to try to do on your own. Make sure you're taking care of your family and your friends around you in the right way. So.
Absolutely. That is amazing. I want to thank our Facebook family and our Radio La Difference family for watching with us. Lorinda is watching with us, Miss Betty, Miss Wedlow. Hey, Miss Joanne. She's watching with us. Hi, Eunice. Oh, and Yvette, my friend Yvette is watching. So thank you guys for all watching with us. One thing you said before we get on off the air, and I want to talk about it a little bit, is Kuumba is really how you guys work creatively together to make a better Evanston. And that's what I think we're all pushing for. I always talk about at the top of the show, we want to make Evanston the most equitable place it can be. We all want a better Evanston. And I think I want to ask you, and I want to ask you with your experience with the students, what does a better Evanston look like to you? And I think I'm gonna ask you, Greg, and Carmen, I want to hear from you too. What does a better Evanston look like? And if you're watching, put it in the chat. What does a better Evanston look like to you?
Yeah, I think it's just it's a place. We live in a great town, but I think it's a place that, every child in Evanston, has equal access to opportunities and resources. And, I think we are a resource-rich town, but everybody isn't able to take advantage of them for one reason or another. And I think that's the Evanston that I want us to get to is how do we make sure that we're reaching everyone? And so, it's kind of rolling up your sleeves and figuring out what each kid needs, each family needs, what are some of the obstacles and challenges, and how do we help them overcome them? The old saying, it takes a village. It does. And so, we are, that to me is how we get there, is to keep reaching for others to help, looking around, asking, what can I do? How can I help? And giving kids the motivation and the positive experiences that allow them to say, yeah, this is great. I can do this. I can be this. I will be this. And keep them going. I don't know. I haven't It's funny, I've probably never been asked that, but that's the first things that come to mind.
Those are some good things. What about you, Carmen?
So I think for me, I think it would be opportunities for learning and growth that are available, but then that people are actually taking advantage of. I think, like Greg said, there are lots of opportunities and lots of resources, but one, I'm not sure how many people know about certain resources out there, but then once they do, just actually taking advantage, and being okay, reaching out for support, reaching out for help. And I think just equity showing up in a real way in the community, like giving people what they need to be successful, and other people not seeing that as them being left out of a conversation or of a group or whatever that looks like. But just really giving people what they need to be successful, and letting that be okay. Like, we don't all need the same thing. And that is okay. And we just need to start realizing that and recognizing that. So I think that would be, those two things would be my vision for Evanston.
I love both of those things, because I think we're always excusing things or saying, well, we gave this to this group. What about this group over here? And it really is okay. Let's give people what they need. So yeah, I really love that. For me, I'd like to just see a more actionable Evanston. I feel like we get lost in the sauce, I call it. We can talk something to death. We can, it can be years and years and we're still talking about it. But we're at the point now, we got to take some action. And I guess that's why we're advocates for action. It's just time to, we have identified the problems. We know what the problems are. It's time for a plan of attack. And let's get it done. Let's break down these barriers. Let's get people access and access to opportunities, and let's make sure people are fed. Let's get them living wage jobs. Let's do it. I think Greg alluded to, we are a resource-rich town. We most certainly are. We have the resources to do it. And I think we got local elections coming up. I think if we get the right people in these seats, and we push and you stay diligent, or diligent. Lord have mercy, and just stay in contact with your aldermen, your school board folks, and really, really, really press for the issues that are important to you. I think we're going to see a better Evanston. And I'm really glad that's what you are, the mindset around Kuumba Camp is. So not just the adults figuring out what a better Evanston looks like, but the youth.
Kids do it.
The youth. This is going to be their Evanston. What's a better Evanston for the youth and for the students? So we are excited about Camp Kuumba. We are always excited about our students. Our own student advocates will be at Yo Fresh tomorrow with the District 202 school board candidates. They are hosting their own meet and greet. So you can come down, grab some froyo, not only meet the candidates, but meet our student advocates and hear what they have to say. So we think that's really important. We'll be down there from 1 until 3 tomorrow on Sunday. So until then, have a safe and happy Saturday. Thank you so much, Greg. Thank you, Mr. Mann. Everybody have a safe and happy Saturday. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
EVANSTON CRADLE to Career Advocates for Action on Radio Law Difference. Please tune in again next Saturday at 10 a.m. for another show.
Action, advocates for You're showing us the way.